Hello and welcome once again to Talking Pictures Podcast. I'm your host David and joined with me as always my co-host Brian. Brian, how are you today?
You know when you watch a movie trailer or watch a scene in a movie, do you ever get goosebumps?
Sometimes, yeah.
Alright, cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Do you?
Definitely not in the Snow White trailer.
You're getting ahead of yourself. We're here today to talk about a film called Trap. Before we get into things, we're going to do the trailer of the week. But before all that, just want to remind everyone that we're available on all of your podcasting apps of choice. We're available on YouTube. So make sure that you are subscribed or you're following us on whatever that app may be. Just to make sure you don't miss new episodes every single Wednesday as well as bonus episodes every other week. So just wanted to say that just in case anyone wasn't listening all the way to the end. But Brian, go on ahead. You've got a treasure trove of trailers now to talk about here. So you're
just
choosing...
one.
Just the one?
Just one.
Okay, go for it. Trailer of the week.
Yeah. So you liked the Snow White trailer?
I didn't mind it, yeah.
Okay, alright, fair.
This is the live action reimagining that Disney has started to do over the last couple of years for Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
I'll tell you what, it's not fucking live action. The dwarves.
Yeah.
They don't even get the section in the title. It's just called Snow White. So
they've been removed, yeah.
Not just been removed. They removed the vacancy of having real life actors with dwarvism to play these roles. Oh, dude, there's a history. Beef. Movie star
specifically just with you? Or?
Yeah, yes, with me as someone who does not have dwarfism, who's not among the community, as an outsider. This movie started off with going to do that, but then I suppose Disney thought Peter Dinklage was the king of dwarves because he had negative talk about it, saying, "Oh, you're just going backwards, you know, dwarves in a cave." Which, okay, there's many false depictions, especially from an era where ignorance was ever present. So Disney decided, okay, we're just gonna not do that, and we're gonna do some other magical creatures instead. And what does that mean? German folklore, mixture of male and females of multiple ethnicities, with one of them with dwarfism. And I'm sorry, you're doing Snow White, right? And the Seven Dwarfs. It's not Snow White and seven politically correct magical creatures. No, but then all of a sudden there is dwarves.
See, when it comes to dwarves, I always imagined it as like the dwarves like in the Lord of the Rings. Do you know, like not someone who is physically differently abled and they have dwarfism, but more so the fictionalized creature of a dwarf.
Yes, I understand. I do understand what you're coming from, but whereas those Lord of the Rings movies hire normal heighted people to play those dwarves, in The Hobbit as well, this movie had the option and availability and responsibility even to hire 7 actors from that community to not just propel careers but start careers. And as much as I would have liked to have seen Peter Dinklage play a doc, that was not going to be. Okay, they got Martin Kepler from the Pirates of the Caribbean to play one of the dwarves. He's playing Grumpy. Yeah. Voicing Grumpy, I guess, now. Because now the dwarves are CGI animation. You said that the style of the dwarves, the appearance, it's a real resemblance to the original animation. And while I smiled and I liked seeing that, especially when crossing the bridge and in the sunset and they're all silhouette. As much as I like that, I am still adamant that I would have wanted live action dwarves. I wanted actors to play them. Can you imagine how good you could have done? But no, guess not. So, and I don't care about what any other bigot, racist, whinge babies are saying about Rachel Ziegler, saying, I guess people are hating on her for some reason, because not just because she's I guess not white, but she said something that they're making her an independently strong woman as they fear. So I'm not going to acknowledge that really beyond what I've already done, because great, do what you want to that, but I just love the dwarves in the movie, because at the end, you know, when they learned that Snow White took bite of the apple and she's been poisoned. They go on a rampage with the woodland critters and the creatures to chase down the evil queen and to get revenge on her. I just don't think we'll get that in this
incarnation.
Yeah.
It's interesting because just to kind of play devil's advocate of why I did like the trailer, I liked it because even though it's a live action reimagining of the story, it does seem to be leaning into the stylistic aspects of that original Snow White tale, specifically with the dwarves and with the evil queen. Like, they've literally gone with that kind of cartoonishly evil, following the character design strictly.
And I'm sure there's digital enhancements with that, but it's still a live action performance.
But even in the scene where Snow White is in the forest, you know, and she drops down and she sees the red eyes and then the deer comes out, like, they're still going with that cartoonish feel.
That is 100% what Bambi is gonna look like in any depiction, because the one who did Women Talking is directing a Bambi adaptation.
Yeah. So I could see, it depends. I could see them also going, like, there's two sides of the coin with this reimagining crack they've been doing, which is this Snow White, which seems to go for the style of the original.
Yeah.
And then you have the likes of Mufasa and the Lion King, which go for this hyper realistic version where there's no cartoonish elements, there's no
facial expressions in the animals,
or distinction or anything like that. They go almost too realistic. It's too far down that end. So I don't particularly like the remake of The Lion King, and I'm not looking forward to Mufasa, especially based on that second trailer. I'm like, I am just not, I can't differentiate what I'm seeing, you know, so I'm not looking forward to that. So by consequence of not looking forward to that, I'm looking forward to Snow White because it is on the other end of the spectrum and it is going for a new version of the cartoon from over 100 years ago.
And if they had just casted actors to play live action performances of the dwarves, I would have agreed with you.
Yeah.
So it's not even enough to just make up for what they've done if they just hire Jason Momoa and Dave Bautista and Bradley Cooper and Leonardo DiCaprio to voice the dwarves. Like, they just have to now be voice actors from the dwarf community, but still not enough. I think we've talked long enough on a trailer that I just did not like.
Interesting that you chose that one, but I suppose the everything surrounding it, I think it'll be interesting, even specifically with the two main actresses of Rachel Zegler and Gal Gadot.
A casting I like.
However, they are two very, very different people, and I think it could be a very interesting press junket, especially if the war in Israel still continues, because obviously Gal Gadot is Israeli and Rachel Zegler is extremely pro-Palestine, as everyone should be. So
I did not even think about that.
Yeah, so I saw a few snippets of interviews at D23 there where the two of them are on stage or, you know, talking to each other, and I can feel a little bit of a tension. So it'll just be interesting going forward when they're on a press tour, just with two people with very, very opposing political views.
Yeah.
In this, so I'll leave it there. Won't talk any more about that.
The film is shot. They don't need to worry about that.
Well, it's just spending so much time in close proximity to someone that you would disagree with. You know, it'll be interesting. But like you said, there, we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about
the Shamhammer.
The Shamhammer is back. So we talked about his previous movie, Knock at the Cabin. We talked about that in, I think it was like episode 5 of Talking Pictures, one of our first episodes.
Yeah, one of our shortest as well.
One of our shortest. I remember like halfway through you giving me the signal like, I don't want to talk about this anymore, and I was like, fair enough.
Yeah, I don't know why I did that. I wouldn't do something like that nowadays.
Now we'd stretch it out to at least a half an hour.
Oh,
we'd get something out of it. But you'd be like, oh, just get the flashbacks up there quick going. But no, we're here to talk about his new film Trap.
I'll tell you, David, think what you want about any given Shamhammer movie from his 3 different eras of his career. All his ideas intriguing, captivating, near original.
Absolutely.
And for a director who comes up with them and goes forth the effort in executing them, when was the last time we had a movie where the protagonist is a serial killer?
Would you even say protagonist? The main character? He's not the protagonist.
We're certainly following him.
Yeah. It's definitely interesting, and it's one of those things where obviously spoilers. I think we should have said that right at the beginning. Spoilers. I don't know.
I don't know if anyone is still listening to us after just talking so long about Snow White.
Yeah, true. But the thing about
and by the way, you've seen the trailers.
That's what I was going to talk about the trailers, because when I was trying to convince Laura to go see this, she kept asking me, "What's it about?" And I went, "I don't want to tell you, because the plot is like also the hook." Yes. You know, and I think that in the film is a great, like, it's just a great reveal. That's the twist. Yes. You know, is the premise, and it's not a traditional twist that happens like in a lot of Shyamalan's movies, where it's much later in the film and you're changing everything that's come before. It's a twist that happens at the beginning and it changes then everything going forward. It changes the plot going forward. So
you're right.
I think that it's a difficult film to even tell people about, because you kind of don't want to spoil that for them, but it's the hook of the film.
Yeah, if you're someone who is a moviegoer like ourselves, who would tend to go see movies more often than usual, we didn't need to watch the trailers. Mm-hmm. And I didn't watch the trailers, but I did hear what this movie was about. Mm-hmm. And so I knew this guy, played by Josh Hartnett, who is fucking brilliant, mm-hmm. I thought. I knew he was the one the trap was set for. Mm-hmm. And so you watched the trailer and that's how you knew.
Mm-hmm. And that was enough. Once I realised that was what it was, I turned it off. I don't want to see anything more. You've got me on the hook there, and I want to see that.
See, I've wondered then if it ever comes to any more Shyamalan movie coming, because he's done now a movie a year. He did Old in 2021, was it? I think that was
2022. I think
was it 22?
And then Knock at the Cabin last
23.
year, and then this 24.
Was Old 2020?
I can check it now.
Yeah, on average now, since The Visit. Well, I suppose The Visit and Split and Glass were 2 years apart, but he's been knocking out movies so
Old is 2021.
It's 2021?
Yeah.
Right. One for me. So, and he did Knock at the Cabin, that came out in February last year, and now he's had a year and a few months for this to come out, and so maybe the next one will be 2 years until this next movie, but he's
but consistent.
Very much consistent, yes. And call this a win. This is one of his wins.
I think so too. I think that it's a film that, like you said there, a very, very interesting concept, a very original concept.
Yeah.
And
the premise in the session. Like a concert. Now, it's not at the concert for the entirety of the movie. In fact, it's at 2/3 of the movie. Mm-hmm.
But we'll talk about that later, because it's actually an interesting aspect I want to talk about. But it's definitely... It's hard to talk about it as well, because I saw it with Laura and she hated it. So a lot of her criticisms I will voice here now, because she didn't want to speak. She just likes doing the music, so she doesn't want to come on. But I will voice some of her opinions.
Okay.
I will tell you when they are her opinions.
Okay.
But now this is one of hers. Is that even though it's a really, really good premise and plot, it just wasn't executed as well as it could have been.
So the fact that a father takes his daughter to the concert, apparently she's as big as not even Taylor Swift, given those seats they're sitting on. Those are like
no, but it's supposed to be kind of a Taylor Swift-esque.
Yeah, essentially. And so he realizes there's a lot of police and security here, and so naturally someone like him would be extra cautious and curious, and he asks one of the staff members, who he got to be friendly a little bit too quickly, from the friend's perspective, the staff member's perspective, that they're here to catch the butcher, a serial killer. And you think, as in the audience, I hope this butcher isn't going to interfere with this father and his daughter. But no, as you said, the twist, the hook, the reveal is that he is the butcher.
But the problem with that, right, is we already know that before that scene. It's made very, very obvious throughout that whole kind of throughout the whole first act, as they're getting to their seats and they're coming into the stadium, he's looking, he's seeing the police, he's seeing the cameras, he's kind of looking around.
Yeah.
That could have been done a lot subtler. I think that it was too on the nose, it was too obvious. And then as well as that, he goes to the bathroom and he looks at his phone and he looks at your man that's tied up before we ever find out that it's the trap. Yeah. So I think that if you delayed that out, I think if you played this as a full, like, play it for people that don't know the premise, play it for people that haven't seen the trailer, just have it as a normal dad taking his kid to a concert and like the whole kind of first act, and you can absolutely still have those scenes of like the extra police presence, but just not as obvious as it was, lingering on it too much. Like, have him be a little bit present, you know, aware of it, but not obviously aware of it.
Showing concern as like a curiosity.
More of a curiosity.
Yeah, pretty much doing what he appeared to be doing for the staff member. Jamie, I think it was called.
I can't remember his name, but I think something like that.
So,
but then once that be revealed by Jamie, and his face drops, then go to the bathroom, and then he pulls out the phone and he's like, oh, okay, we're following this. Okay, wow, that's really interesting. It's not going to be...
That would have been better, naturally, it would have been the better approach. Mm-hmm. But why did Laura think it wasn't executed in terms of that premise?
As in, why didn't she like it? I think because it was so obvious. And then as well as that, it was so... She didn't enjoy Josh Hartnett's performance in that kind of first half.
That smile, that overly enthusiastic,
it's too
positive.
Enthusiastic, too... You know, it's almost like he's almost like Ned Flanders.
Talking to his daughter as if she's 6-year-old.
Exactly, even though she's 12, and like, hey, why don't we? You know, why she really wants that T-shirt? Why doesn't she get it? You know, stuff like that, or like bumping into the other friend's mom and being like, yeah, let's set them up for a pizza date. Like, it's fine. You know, it was too nice, and I think maybe after you had found out that he was the bad guy, that he was the butcher.
Yeah.
Then retroactively all those interactions would have become clear, like would have been like, oh, that's the mask that he's putting on. He's trying not to hide it. But because we have those interactions, then we find out he's the butcher, then he continues those interactions, and then we find out it's a trap. It's a little bit just kind of jarring.
Yeah. Well, then that uncommits the movie where in its entirety, once he learns he's in a trap, which, it's a cool name for the premise. Just as how we keep referring to it as the trap. His then objective is to try to escape and do so without alerting his daughter. And he's getting an adrenaline rush from it. So, we'll go back to that in a second, what I mean by adrenaline rush and his objective to find any way he can to escape. Back to how he keeps appearing as, like you said, Ned Flanders, for lack of a better description. I do agree with you. However, this is Shamhammer.
I love that. That it doesn't matter. It's Shamhammer.
But you see, what I'm trying to get at is, right, if you give this idea in its entirety, right, so exactly as it is, you know, down to the details of how you execute the story and the actions is up to the given director. But if you give this story to James Mangold or David Fincher, I'd imagine their approach and portrayal of Josh Hartnett and the actions he does and his expressions he does and even the writing, I'd imagine it would come across maybe more grounded, more realistic, less goofy, less wonky.
Yeah.
Definitely different, and that's what I'm trying to say. Not how Shamhammer would do it.
His world is definitely a little bit heightened. I felt like that throughout. That's why I didn't have as much of a problem, because I was like, oh no, that with Josh Hartnett's performance, I felt, oh yeah, no, he is just putting up that
facade,
the family man, like I'm here to help, you know, what do we need, you know, because he wants to be on the absolute opposite end of the spectrum, so no one would ever think that he's the butcher. And so
it's a little surface level. Like you'd expect this in a cartoon. And that's not an insult, that's not a knock on. but ever since he did The Visit, those two grandparents. Now, you saw The Visit, right?
Yeah.
All right, spoilers. They came from a mental institution, all right? So, how they acted and the actions they took, all right, definitely wonky and unnatural. And then there's some elements of Split, although how very sophisticated and believable it was. It was in Split with James McAvoy's performance. But remember, all those personalities, definitely wonky. And
I think that's a good way of putting it. Like all the stories are very grounded.
Yeah.
They're very real stories. However, there's a certain element that's just off.
Yes.
Just a little bit like...
well, yeah, maybe that's better than me saying wonky.
No, I completely agree. Like, because I think that the likes of The Visit and Split and Knock at the Cabin and Old and this, I feel like they all exist within the same world. You know, I could very much see this Josh Hartnett go up against, or not up against, but I could have seen him in, you know, a group therapy session in Glass or something like that.
Could have.
I just feel that I completely agree with what you're saying, is that Shyamalan makes these movies and he kind of sets them in a world that's just slightly different than ours, that these wonky performances or these slightly exaggerated performances then feel natural within the world.
Yeah, I just thought maybe this movie took a little bit of an extra step in that something's off, it's a bit wonky because of the facade he's really committing to. It's just a little... If he came up to me and asked me those questions with that smile and responded to me in that fake tone, and even the daughter said to him a few times, "You're acting weird," and she said it again to the mother later on.
He's been acting weird, yeah.
So it's good that they acknowledge that, and that's a good cause for me to fall under. I'm fine with it, and I'm fine with it. I think maybe it's just took an extra step a little too loosey goosey. Like something's off here, and you know the characters within this movie should know it, but like this is not peak M. Night.
No,
that was his earlier career, and that was before his spiraled down into The Happening and Last Airbender, and I can't remember what else he did.
Lady in the Water.
Lady in the Water, and everyone says The Village as well, but I think that was just mismarketed. So ever since The Visit and Split, and then Glass and all that, right? Ever since his resurgence, they've been in the middle of that. They've been in between, and sometimes it goes up a little higher, like with Split and The Visit, and sometimes it goes a little bit lower with Old and maybe Knock at a Cabin. And I think this Trap movie is in the middle. Yeah,
I think that you're right. I think that when he initially started, he was kind of nearly hailed as the next Steven Spielberg.
That is correct. Yes,
thrown to those heights, and unfortunately, he had to have some of those failures to really be brought down to the level at which he should have always been, which is the level that any new director should be at. You know, they should be just kind of at they make good, entertaining movies.
He's in the middle of the road, and by being in the middle of the road, he stands out.
Yeah, I think.
Think of it this way: every time M. Night has a movie coming out, that attention is focused on him.
On his name. Yeah, he is a draw himself to the film. It's the new M. Night Shyamalan film.
Yeah, like gone are the days people are paying attention to a new Michael Bay movie, and the same with a load of other directors I'll just not mention, because some people will. I think maybe people would pay attention to M. Night more than they would with James Mangold, because his name is a draw himself. James Mangold's, I think, a better safe director for directing a tentpole Star Wars or MCU movie, and he's also delved into indie projects. You wouldn't give M. Night that. Let M. Night do his own things,
and that's something you have to commend him for as well. when M. Night did do The Last Airbender, that was obviously a failure. However, everything else that he's done has been completely original.
Yeah.
He has, I don't think, ever done kind of a franchise or an IP or anything like that. It all comes from his own head. Even with Unbreakable and Split and Glass. Yeah, it's a franchise, but I say that in the loosest sense because it's 3 films that are the first 2 not very connected, the third one being the culmination of those 2 films, but all came from him as well. It's not like established.
Yeah, but remember that came much later in his life. So, so
years and years apart.
You should also almost nearly just say a completely original standalone movie.
So
even After Earth, like not the best execution, but definitely one that. Different from all the others.
Exactly. That's what you need to say when it comes to M. Night films is they may not all be bangers, but they're all original. And they're all something different. It's not going to be the same thing that you're seeing every week at the cinema. It's going to be an original concept. Whether he hits it or not, it's still an original concept. I think specifically with Old, that was one that
that was very original. Actually, that and Knock at the Cabin, I believe, are based on books.
Are they? Okay. But both very original ideas.
Yeah. That he tackles and he puts a spin on.
How they were executed, divisive, fair enough. You know, they can't all be winners. But I think this original concept, interesting concept, executed well. It's not the best, but executed quite well.
Yeah.
I think what I really enjoyed about it is the
Josh Hartnett's performance.
Josh Hartnett's performance and the setting itself. You know the way some people would say, or some people would describe a film saying, oh yeah, the city itself is a character.
Yeah.
You know, people would say that about like the Batman or anything set in New York, like the city is a real character. I felt like that, but with this. I felt the concert itself was a character. Because it takes place over, like you said there, it's 2/3 of the movie take place at this concert, but the way that the concert shifts and changes, the way that the lights change to kind of reflect his thinking.
When it's red, and then when it's dark.
With the lights.
And then it's blue.
When he is looking around and all the lights are shining, and it just kind of gives off a different atmosphere, and as he notices different people in the crowd be taken by the police, when the stairs come up and he sees that as an opportunity to go out that way. I think that the concert and the arena itself was a character that what I was really impressed by, specifically with the stairs coming up in the aisle.
Yeah.
The fact that he kind of says to his daughter, he turns and goes, wow, look, you can kind of see down there. Do you want to go? And she's like, what are you talking about? No, I'm at a concert. Why would I want to go down there? And then that's something that's not explored. It's not like he goes down by himself, because if it was a situation where it was just him, yeah, absolutely, he would go down there. It would be like kind of like almost like Mission Impossible, like he's trying to move around the place, but he has a daughter he has to think about, and everything he does has to include her and make sense to her why he's doing it. Yeah, and that doesn't make sense. Yeah, you know, like he says like, why would I do that?
Yeah, he does do some of those. He does get to wander the area on his own. He swipes a card from Jamie, who he makes best buddies with. That scene with him, by the way, and he, hold this please, he's given the knife, and we all know at this point he's the butcher, and I heard a few people in the cinema go, ho ho ho, don't forget your knife. And you know, being shown the pictures of his own murders, and he's trying to pretend that he doesn't like it. He does go stealth mode and pose as a staff member with the key. And back to the adrenaline rush. Room full of SWAT. Hearing the chief talk about what this type of guy is that they're after, and he's just standing there. He's not moving. He's enjoying it.
He's listening.
And he you think, oh, he's going to shit himself because now he's trapped completely in this room. Doesn't bother him. He's just going to walk.
I'm going to move through them. Yeah. You're looking for me. Like, you know.
I'm just going to go over here, get a coffee. And how he takes initiative to really fit in, because one of the staff members, hey, where's the sugar? Oh, sorry. Our guy normally always puts it here. Hey, take my stash. As if he knew there was sugar under there, but yes, he's putting a story behind this facade. And the fact, you know, this sugar is my stash here, you take it.
And he pulls out donuts right beside it, and he's like, oh, you want some of these? I'll just leave them out for you. And I think it goes to show with later on when he's talking to his wife, and how she became suspicious of him.
Yeah.
The fact that she says, you just lied so effortlessly, like no one would not believe you. And that's one of those instances where, yeah, he gets down, he picks it up, and he's like, yeah, take mine, you know? That it's like, how did he know that was there? And it's literally just, he opened the press, saw it, and immediately there he is lying about it.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's a good character quality that he's the ability to lie like that.
And he's enjoying the challenge. And he's enjoying listening in to the what was she, a therapist, doctor?
She was a profiler.
He's enjoying hearing her describe the type of person that they're after, that he is, whether he acknowledges it or not. And so we do get those moments where he is going stealth mode, where he's pulling out his limited excuses to his daughter. Oh, I gotta go get the t-shirt. Oh, I forgot my credit card. Oh, I'm gonna go to the bathroom. Things like that. And there's only so much ammunition you can put with that. And then as the concert progresses, his daughter mentions the fact that Lady Raven pulls someone from the crowd. And then backstage she mentions, oh, backstage you say. So then he takes it upon himself to ensure that she gets chosen. How he knew that guy was the spotter at the concert, I don't know.
I think I saw him, he was going around with an iPad. I think that was to the level of how he knew. He got very lucky. I mean, in fairness, like...
There is an awful lot of leeway, which I haven't mentioned yet, and I will mention. That is one of them. How he's able to spot out this one guy. He not only turns out to be a spotter, he's also their uncle. Gives him a story of how his daughter is battling leukemia. So, and how when she's asked about, hey, how are you? You think... Well, I'm thinking for the safety of the fucking serial killer that his daughter doesn't reveal, oh, I'm not sick.
Well, I think he was clever about it because he says, yeah, she was battling leukemia.
Yeah.
And then he kind of looks over at her and he goes, oh, no. She's over it. She got past it. Like, she's cured. She's fine. So if the question were to come up later, it's not that she has cancer or anyone's questioning, oh, why doesn't she look like she has cancer? It's because, oh no, she got over it. She's better, you know. So I think that was once again
well covered
instance of clever thinking
and a great lie. And I had a huge big grin and smile seeing the M Night,
the cameo.
A cameo, extended cameo, doesn't matter. I like seeing him pop up. It's part of, we expect it now. Like I'll actually be no, actually, I would forget. Oh yeah, he's supposed to cameo in his own movies, but he didn't in this one. But in this one, he did, and I'm glad for that. And I'm very delighted with that. And so he gets himself in a position to be backstage, and we're getting close to the end. And I wonder what he was thinking when he sees his daughter brave her nerves and dance with Lady Raven on stage, because he's watching her. He's happy for her, and he's in awe. But I just wonder if there was something more to what he was thinking there, because I know he's trying to escape, but he's definitely not going to leave her.
It's interesting because I was thinking kind of the same thing, because it's obviously an extended sequence where she's up on stage dancing with Lady Raven.
Yeah.
But there's no point where we kind of cut back to him and he's like getting all nervous and looking around and it's like, right, what's my next move or anything like that.
He's just staring at her.
He is genuinely, like, in that moment, the father of Riley. He's not the persona of the butcher. He's trying to make a day for her and do things for her.
It's very funny to think that this guy, serial killer, everyone should be afraid of him. But he's going to protect his daughter to his death. Do you know what that actually just reminded me of now? The Wolfman.
I'm not seeing the Wolfman.
Well, the reason I'm thinking that is because when the famous, it's always the one name, Lawrence something, I think, the human, he's always named Lawrence in the original IP. Good, humble man, always wanted to do the right thing. There is a Wolfman movie coming up, and he's the father, he's going to be the protector. He's the Wolfman. He is the monster. And when
two sides of the same coin,
yes. Yeah. Now, of course, the difference is he's not going to do anything to his daughter. But that's pretty much where it stops, because not to get ahead of ourselves, he does intend to harm his wife. So that's why I just saw a little bit of similarity there. Now he's more in control, but I just thought of that.
Do you want to jump into some flashbacks before we go any further?
Precisely.
Brilliant. Okay, Laura, play that jingle for us. Thank you, Laura. So, some flash facts for Trap. According to M. Night Shyamalan, the pitch and concept for the movie revolved around the question, what if Silence of the Lambs happened at a Taylor Swift concert?
Silence of the Lambs has many different locations.
Well, I think he meant more so the Hannibal Lecter, or what's the guy's name?
Buffalo Bill?
Buffalo Bill, yeah. More so, what if they were caught in a trap? What if they were somewhere they couldn't leave? I think it's an interesting way to look about it. Like, I think that it's, like I said earlier, a really interesting way of a fish out of water story or a cat and mouse game within the one location. I know obviously later on...
This doesn't qualify as one location.
But adding that extra element of it's not just him, it's his daughter as well that has to go, and she isn't in on the secret or anything. He can't reveal that secret. So.
How much different would this movie be if his daughter wasn't there? If it was just at a different venue that he would be at?
Completely different.
It's just nearly, what's the point of this movie then? The fact that his daughter there, and innocent, like, the best dad in the world is a serial killer to her, you know? So I think that I would not have thought about those comparisons to this movie, but I see it.
Maybe it's kind of the perfect way to get a character like that in a situation like this is through the daughter.
That's another good point. Yeah.
Because they wouldn't have got him any other way.
No, they wouldn't.
Flashback number 2. When M. Night Shyamalan was figuring out who to cast as the lead for Trap, Josh Hartnett went to Ireland, shout out Ireland, where we're from, during production of The Watchers. He had lunch with him, and the two talked about Oppenheimer, Black Mirror, living outside of Hollywood. When they talked about being fathers of 3 girls each, Shyamalan knew Josh was the guy for the role. Josh Hartnett has been on a little bit of a comeback with Black Mirror, and with Oppenheimer. I really enjoyed him in Oppenheimer.
That's one of the best flashbacks you've ever done.
Is it?
Yeah.
Why is that?
I just love it. I love Josh Hartnett being cast in this. I love that story of being 2 men being father of 3 daughters. I like that he came to Ireland when Watchers was being filmed. One of his daughters filmed that movie. And yes, he is on a comeback with Oppenheimer. And I can't believe I forgot about this. I knew he was in Black Mirror, probably the best episode, and probably the biggest monster in that entire season. And here he is playing a monster again, and I completely forgot. He played a monster previously, and I just completely forgot.
He also had a very, very, very minor role in The Bear this season. I don't know if you remember him in The Bear. He plays Richie's ex's new fella.
And I so believe that guy is a serial killer.
If he's done anything to Richie, if he hurts cousin, I'm going straight for him. I know.
I want to see Richie beat him up. Yeah. That's one of the best flashbacks you've ever.
Good. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
I really enjoyed that flashback.
And then flashback number 3. This film is one of 2 films released in 2024 that M. Night Shyamalan produced involving his children. His other daughter, Aishana Shyamalan, directed the film The Watched. And then his daughter, Saleka Shyamalan, is the person who played Lady Raven. So it's interesting because, like you said there, with his cameo, he plays Lady Raven's uncle, but in actual fact, he is the director, and he played Lady Raven's, or he is her dad in real life.
Yeah, I knew that. That one of his daughters, directed her first movie, and he helped make it. And his other daughter, he had star in his other movie, pretty much the third lead of this movie. Absolutely. And
I thought initially, when I heard that she was going to be playing the
pop star,
the pop star, the Taylor Swift equivalent, that's all it would be. But as we obviously found out, very, very prominent role in the film, especially in the third act. You know, she becomes a main character.
I actually thought she had a personal stick tied. She had stakes involved to catching him. Like, I thought maybe a relative of hers was killed by the butcher, or maybe the guy that was kidnapped by the butcher was someone she knew, a friend, boyfriend, something like that. Because of how she was invested in the control room talking with the profiler.
No, I think it was very much just a concerned person doesn't want this stuff to happen. I don't think
she's a very well concerned person. I might say.
Wouldn't you be? You know, someone came along and was like,
I need a please.
You need a please at least.
Yeah.
Sure, we'll let Laura go. We'll get out of these flashbacks and we can talk about Lady Raven and the kind of third act of the film. So Laura, play us out of here. Thank you, Laura. One other aspect, sorry, just about the just because we're going to be talking about her now, Lady Raven, and like I said earlier, with the concert having being a character of its own.
Yeah.
The actual music and the dancing and all that kind of stuff and the performance.
I believe it's all her, isn't it?
It is, and I believed that it was a real artist as well. You know the way sometimes you can have an artist go on stage or you see them in a movie and you go, oh, that's fake, that's not a real song or anything like that.
Yeah, the first guy.
Exactly,
the first guy
group.
Who showed up, the opening guy.
Yeah.
You just cut to him announcing himself and started singing.
Mm-hmm. Completely fake song. Whereas everything else from Lady Raven felt like, oh, this could be real.
Yeah.
You know, it just made, it kind of grounded the world a little bit more. It's like, okay, I actually am watching a concert here and so are they, and they're enjoying themselves, and it's not just people dancing because they've been told to dance. They're actually enjoying it. So that was another aspect of
you know, you're actually right. The whole entire concert sequence with her involved, and then bringing in her colleague who came in from the stairs, and then her mentor-esque played by Kid Cudi, which is interesting.
I don't know him, so
I only know him because I don't know if many Google searches I've done throughout my life, I just would have come across him. Yeah. I like how it was all broken up and executed pace wise as well. And you know, when they're backstage and he's looking at her, I thought they were going to pull something with her being asthmatic. Yeah, and then I thought, oh, we're going to see a side to her. Oh, she's actually a bitch to her staff and all that. But no, she's actually very sweet. She, you know, it's like Kid Cudi was that though. That was for a gimmick, you know, a laugh.
I thought, with the asthma, with the inhaler,
I thought he was going to steal it and
leverage that as a way to get out. Yeah, but instead he said that was when he decided he was going to kill her. That's his motivation for killing people, is when they think they're so perfect, but they actually have a flaw. That's when he decides, oh yeah, I'm going to kill them. So I thought that was an interesting...
Yeah, that's... I forget... I remember when he said that. I didn't exactly specifically remember how it tied to her being asthmatic, but yes, that's good. I got a little thrilled when he got her alone and he just fully admitted, you got me. You're looking for me.
I disagree.
Really?
I don't like that scene.
No?
Because his character is smarter than that. He went in there and it was literally like I've got no more moves left to play. I've spent my hand. I'm nothing else. I'm going to just admit it. I'm going to threaten her. Go in there and say, hey, we really appreciate everything you've done. Do you mind if she sees your limo? Like, she's never been in a limo before. I think he really could have played a bit more into that and still have it play out the same way, where he does threaten her, but I just think he was too quick to...
So what if he asked her first and
she denied it?
Yeah.
She said, oh no, we're not going in the limo.
And then he goes to leave, and then... Well, then I have no other choices.
Exactly, yeah. Just, I think he was too quick to give up and to play his full hand. I think that he is... The character that we've seen throughout the film is smarter than that, and he would have another trick or two up his sleeve before fully admitting.
I suppose I forgot about that, because when he went up to go to admit it to her, I watched that scene with the suspicion that there was a connection there. She was looking for him, the butcher, because of a personal agenda or vendetta, or he kidnapped or killed someone associated to her, and so now there's a personal stake between the two, and a rivalry set up, and something like that sort of progressed as they just continued to get to know each other based on what they knew of each other. But I just I forgot, or at least I didn't think of him revealing himself too much, putting himself in the open unnecessarily when he still could have continued to try.
Yeah.
But he definitely, like, when his plan for wanting to go backstage, like, definitely he thought he was winning, but as soon as he saw all the police and SWAT down the hall, even the staff member who was directing them, it seemed like she forgot. Oh yeah, shit, I forgot. You just gotta go through this little checkpoint, ask a few questions. No biggie. It's as if she's so focused on her job, she forgot. Oh yeah, one last thing, And I thought that actually committed to her not realizing about the possibility that, I suppose that profiler did say that the butcher could be any one of these men, and I'm just not thinking about the fact that this man could be him.
Yeah, it's like he's exempt from it because he was chosen specifically. It's
and I thought, and like I said, I thought her forgetting about, oh yes, the police down there. I genuinely believe she forgot. Yeah,
because it's not something that they worry about every single day, or there is checkpoints. Or anything
oh
like
yeah,
that.
man, hectic coordinated, definitely. So now Lady Raven is a character. Big pair of balls on her to say, hey, can you show me your house?
Yeah, I think
because he's threatening her, if you rat me out,
I will kill this man and it'll be your fault.
Yeah, so she's not going to let that happen. So she's going to involve herself.
Yeah.
And I like how I sat up a few times as the movie progressed. We get to their home. He's no choice. He can't deny his daughter from this. And when we get to the house, I didn't actually realize, so there is a mom. And there's a brother as well. So he's got a family life. And it looks like a lovely home life. And everyone, they go up to clean the room. She's cooking dinner. And then focus in the background is the serial killer going up to her. I don't know what you're doing here, but you are not in control. I will kill him, and I will kill you. And
he's not used to going up against someone that's going to push back against him.
Yeah,
because like you said there, he has that power over. He has the phone, but she keeps just kind of pushing back on him. It's like
ever so slightly.
Let me see your house.
Yeah,
and then do you want to come in? Yeah,
and then she's telling him about do you know the story about the butcher and even the mom? Because
he's shaking the phone.
Yeah, because we don't know what her. We don't know if she's in on it or not. And I'm thinking she's either in on it, she's an enabler or an active killer, or maybe she just doesn't know anything. We don't know. But then when Josh Hartnett sits up from the couch, really commanding the frame, threatening in a facade way to escort her out. I felt the tension coming from his performance, that if I was in the room, I would definitely be going what's going on here? And it didn't reach that point yet, because she goes over to play the piano and then gets the girl to sit with her and then filming the phone. And I like how Lady Raven was quick on her heels about this. Oh, let's get a selfie. Oh, no phone. Let's use your dad's phone. Snatches it from him straight away. And can I get my phone back, please? With a big cracking smile. Big profile shot on him, him looking at us as the audience. There are recent cinematography styles Shamhammer has been using in his recent movies, and how she locks up in the bathroom, and then we're just focused on her. We hear everything about him trying to barge down the door, and all the family freaking out. What's going on here? We don't know what's happening with them. We still don't know if the mother's in on it, and she's trying to streamline the poor kid who's trapped, and she gets some of her loyal fans to set him free, which is great. And that scene was very well done. And just his desperation to continue this facade while he's on the brink of being exposed to his family that he is a killer. Because she has the power over him now. At
the end of the day, as soon as she pulls up to that house, she's won. She doesn't even have to go in, because now she just has to ring that profiler and say, he lives here. It's him. She's already won, but she's going a step further because she's afraid for this guy's life.
Yeah.
That he showed her, because he could kill him at any second. But I think with that scene where she goes into the bathroom, great scene. You fear. I was fearing for the family. Like,
so was
I thought, like, is he gonna just snap now and has to kill them and then get to her and then leave? But I think the sound design, when he's hitting that door, I felt it. I was like, I've heard someone hit a door like that before, and it's scary, you know, when someone is desperately trying to get into a room. I think the sound design was like, I could feel his desperation on the other side of the door.
And you know what I like as well? When he goes in, he sees on the phone, his prisoner has been released. It's important that my finger stays on your shoulder.
Yeah.
For the entire time.
The facade dropped completely.
Oh yeah, he's now this OCD, calm, cool, unhinged serial killer. And as they leave the bathroom, he just fixes the tail. Yeah. And I don't know, what was he gonna do? Was he gonna lock her up somewhere? No, he just take her with her in the car. He's a bag hidden, ready, on the go. And you know, I thought this next scene between them two in the car, where she tries to pull an Edward Norton in Red Dragon to him, where she tries to play on his memory of his mother, because of that's, of course, troublesome mother. That's why he's a serial killer. You can make the same comparison with James McAvoy in Split. She plays up to him, and he says he knows what she's doing, and he continues to still play along with it, responding to her as if it is his mother he's talking to. Now you can play that up to, you can toss that up to just him being just a psycho, because he does see his mother throughout the movie as a ghost, hallucinating her or just imagining her. But you know, he still plays along with it just for a little bit, when he really shouldn't be, because now time is under pressure. He's locked his family up in the room. He needs to escape because the police are on the way. His prisoner's gone. But he does drop it anyway, because he says, because he's about to drive off. You know, I just thought maybe revisit that scene. And I like how.
Would you have liked him to fully go into that, like that he sees now his mother in her? Or would you have liked it to be, I'm not falling for that, don't, stop?
Well, you know, I think there is a little bit of that scene with his wife later on. So maybe if you could have delved into that a little bit, or start dropping the breadcrumbs of him openly talking about it, rather than Lady Raven going above and beyond as a concerned citizen to defeat this serial killer by toying on his trauma. I just thought, when would this really exactly happen? But then, you know, I suppose I just forgave it because it was done and it came and went very quickly, and it's a Shyamalan movie. And I like how she exits the car, because they lift the shutters up and the family's there, and he's just seeing, maybe he's actually realised, I've lost my family now. And so as they all try to back up and the police come, he tells his girl that everything's going to work out with your friends at school, and tells his wife that the plumber is and he's going to get you to boil a new boiler, but it's okay, everything's fine. And then tells his son about you'll do well in that science exam. And then I thought the next logical thing, he's just going to try and hang himself now. He has time enough to sort of clean up broken glass as a SWAT is outside his house. Just seconds away. And I thought, you know, I like that he's doing this while he's so close to his end. But he was always going to escape. There was a tunnel under his house that leads to the neighbours. And if he was going to go there anyway, well then, maybe don't make it look like he's going to commit suicide. You know, one last meal, one last clean up before I end myself. So maybe
what I didn't like
just revisit that. You know?
What I didn't like about that was right in the scene before that,
yeah,
when he's in the car and he sees the family in front of him,
yeah,
he says, there's a tree outside the window. I never looked at the house like that. I never thought about it like a way to escape. But he has a tunnel dug in the closet, so he has looked at it like that. It just seemed like that was... Maybe there was an original draft where he does kill himself, but then it was changed and they wanted it a little bit later, but they just obviously left that line in because I just didn't believe then that if he does look at the house where he needs to have an escape tunnel, he should look at it from all angles like that.
I wouldn't have thought about that, and maybe I could now just sum it up as, well, the tree isn't naturally it's part of nature. It's not something that he constructed there.
No, but he would have put them in a different room.
Yeah, maybe. Which is why I can agree and disagree at the same time, because I've disagreed with you just there, but I can also agree with you by saying the next few scenes after, when he should have probably committed suicide and end the movie there, we have a few tacked on scenes afterwards.
Yeah, I think there was too many of those, too many escapes, and too many, like, it just kept going on.
Yeah,
I didn't need it to go on as long as
and one of his last movies had a few endings, and I remember you talking about there are so many options to end Old, and some of them are better than others, and one of them would have been so good that it could leave you wanting more and prefer to have more. I actually couldn't choose one. Because I would like the options of what could be, and I like the use of the music as well. I really do. And so while I liked having more scenes with him kidnapping Lady Raven and then escaping again and then going back home to his wife, and then we get the second twist, or more of just a reveal with his wife essentially being the one to initiate the trap for him. Not that she fully believed that he could have been the butcher, at least then it would have proved that he wasn't. But sorry love, your husband is the serial killer. And I liked I didn't know how it was going to end, and I didn't want it to end badly for one of the people who doesn't deserve it. I didn't want him to kill Lady Raven, and I'm glad she escaped. I did not want him to kill his wife, and I was very joyous to see that she had drugged him. And I thought maybe it's a little bit strange to be following an innocent in that of his wife, who we've not really been introduced until this third act. Like with Lady Raven, it was a little bit fine because she was there from the get-go, but that sort of just ended. So I thought it was a little bit strange, especially when you can say, well, that's why the protagonist or the lead character is the serial killer, but we're not always following from his perspective. Because I feel like when we're following him in the concert, we're following him. We're essentially rooting for him until we're not. And we're not supposed to, because that's sick of us. We're not supposed to root for a serial killer to escape. But for the sake of the movie and the plot and the narrative and the story to unfold, we're supposed to. And then whether you continue to follow him or not, you're supposed to ensure that he gets arrested or dies or gets committed suicide or gets killed. And maybe focus on following one character in the end rather than half it and half it with Lady Raven and his wife. Just not the best is what I'm trying to say. And I'm glad he got tasered, and it took
three of them.
That's
why I kind of had in my mind that it could have existed in the world of Split. Because he would have had a little bit of an unnatural ability to take three tasers.
Fucking hell. Yeah, built that guy is. Like, he's not Hugh Jackman, but Jesus Christ, threatening.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Why do you take his shirt off again? I forgot.
I mean, when you look that good, wouldn't you take your shirt off?
I would, but like, anyway, I didn't want him to die. I wanted him to be arrested, and I wanted him to face
consequence.
Yes, I wanted him to look at himself and the actions he's done, the horrors he's done, with his family witnessing him that, and we got a little bit of that, and I liked how he's being. I like it when someone like a villain like that is getting arrested because justice, because it would have been just too finito if he had killed himself, but maybe that would have been a better one. It just depends. And one of the good few decisions, such as him being way too getting way too much access with his new best friend Jamie to go backstage in the boxes, you know, or being very, very lucky to spot M. Night as the spotter and his daughter gets chosen, or being allowed the freedom to pick up the bike and set a stand, because we're just tossing it up as a OCD thing, but really he's just taking the
one of the spokes,
yes, to continue to escape. And no way that would happen. No, they would not stop him to do. They point a gun at him, but no, you keep pushing him and lock him in, and
even with Riley coming up and hugging him,
I
was like, they wouldn't let that
no,
happen.
They wouldn't,
because in another movie, he would then take her hostage, and I think luckily he didn't do that, because he is a very loving family man when it comes to that aspect of his life.
Yeah,
but too much access, too much freedom allowed to this serial killer.
Yeah, and when it's revealed that he's just going to try and escape again, and he just has a big grin and a smile on his face and he's laughing, and the movie ends there. I tossed that up to a serial killer who will not stop because he can't stop. And I was reminded by this one movie called The Hitcher.
Never seen it, never even heard of it.
Or The Hitchhiker.
I'm not sure.
I'll spare you the details in case you ever come across it, but it's starring... Is it Sean Bean?
I don't know.
Holy shit. Do excuse me, David, because I need to ensure I look this up. But the movie has a serial killer, and you don't know much about him. And what you do know is that he doesn't stop killing because he can't, and that he has to be killed to stop. And it's not some deep philosophical meaning. No, it's just he
it's like a vampire.
He just kills because he does. Like he's in a position to kill someone, and he has the option to not, whether he has a gun pointed to his head, or whether he's being begged, or whether he can be arrested if he does, or whether he can just not kill and he can still escape. No, kills. And so even when he's in a position where he can't do anything, he still tries to escape because he just can't stop. And so you just gotta kill him. So I thought of that when I saw this final scene with him attempting to escape again. And I refused to finish this movie to believe that he escapes.
No.
He
gets out of the handcuffs, but he's still locked in the thing.
I summed it up as him just still trying to escape no matter what, and it will end with him just being recaptured again or killed. And that's it. I didn't watch it and think, oh man, he escapes. No, I didn't watch it as that. What are your thoughts on this while I make sure I look up the
I agree with what you said there. I think that he is very much like, once the facade drops, the monster comes out. I think that is obviously from when kind of Lady Raven takes his phone, and he's just the calculating OCD monster from that point. And yeah, he does get a lot of access to certain things like that, even just like hugging Riley or getting the smoke from the bicycle. But once he's in that truck, I think that he's caught. Like, there's not too much. I think he'd also be his downfall would be his family, because even if he were to escape, he would still end up back there, or he would still try to keep some kind of connection of checking with them. So he's not... This isn't a story where he gets away. He
was going to kill his wife and then kill himself. And I like how his OCD was committed, not just by cleaning. It was like, I'm going to finish this pie in 5 bites. How down to being in control of things can you be? It's just interesting. It was Sean Bean.
Okay, brilliant. I'm glad. I'm glad you figured that out. I don't think I have much more else to say on Trap. Is there anything?
I think I've slurred and waffled my way
Got
through everything I've needed to. I did like the little post-credit scene with Jamie.
Oh, your man figured it out.
Yeah.
Like, I helped him, no.
Yeah,
it's
it
funny.
reminded me of your man from Get Out.
Mm.
Del Rey Lindo, or no, Lil Ray Howery. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Have you got a recommendation for the people before we let them go?
Yeah, The Hitcher.
It's called The Hitcher.
Yes.
Okay.
You should. I'm looking here that it's got what's Rotten Tomatoes 19%.
Oh wow. Okay. Not high.
But this is one of those movies where really.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very simply straightforward movie. It's not long.
Mm-hmm.
Sean Bean's in it, and I think for that knowledge, where you're watching this movie, and the psycho is committing these horrific acts of violence because he does.
Mm-hmm. He's compelled to.
It's not something. It's not like The Strangers. No. It's like he kills. It's like you get it all finalized in a bit of a scene,
mm-hmm.
and there's still more you could have done in telling him. Just like you could have done more with Josh Hartnett's character in Trap.
Mm-hmm.
But why he does these things, like we don't see him really kill people.
No,
we
not
see
at all.
him. We see him push a woman down the stairs, set a glass to blow up in hot oil and blow up in a woman's face.
Mm-hmm.
You see him committed to actually ensuring these acts of violence, but we don't see him.
Mm-hmm.
So that all comes down to performance, which is really interesting. So yeah, I think you should. You yourself, even David,
Yeah, I know, I'll add it to my list, absolutely.
consider watching The Hitcher. Don't let Rotten Tomatoes dictate
I won't,
your.
absolutely not.
It's a really look. It's only 84 minutes. I mean, come on,
Easy
yeah,
watch.
like, it's grand. Come on.
I'm going to recommend something you recommended to me, which is a television show on Apple TV Plus called Presumed Innocent. We watched it over the last week or so, and I have to say, great.
Did you finish it?
Oh yeah, we watched, I think, an episode a night where we were like, right, episode 1, episode 2, episode 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Like, we just, once we kind of got into the swing of things, it was like, okay, we need to watch the next one. Okay, put on the next one. It's a great story. It's Jake Gyllenhaal and Ruth Negga are the leading stars in it.
And you've got great supporting roles from Peter Skarsgård and Bill Camp.
And it's about a lawyer, district attorney, who his partner, one of the other lawyers in the district attorney's office is murdered, and he is one of the suspects. And I won't say anything more than that.
Yeah, it's just he needs to prove his innocence.
He needs to prove his innocence, and it's a great show based on a movie from the 90s starring Harrison Ford. I'm looking forward to going back and seeing that.
Did you watch it before?
I haven't. No,
Okay.
I want to see it. I want to see it just based on
Because
watching the story unfold over 8 episodes of about an hour each.
Yeah.
Is very different from a movie that's 2 hours long.
Yeah,
So,
and they're both based on the same book.
yeah, so I'm interested to see the different levels at which they go into detail, or how much character time is spent. Especially, I'd say there's not as much time spent with Ruth Negga's character, the wife, in the actual film. So I'm excited to watch that and compare it. But yeah, I'd recommend that. It's called Presumed Innocent.
I know another connection in that same vein.
Go ahead.
With M. Night. His Last Airbender and The Last Airbender on Netflix. An hour or 2 hours.
Oh, yeah,
and
sorry.
then over
Yeah,
the course
yeah.
of 8 episodes in the show. So, not saying you should watch it.
No.
It's just like there's another version
connection.
of the same story told over in a movie's length and then told over 8 episodes length. But yeah, I watched Presumed Innocence, and it was great to watch over the course of the 8 weeks.
Yeah.
So nice.
Thank you so much for joining me on this episode, Brian.
Thanks for hosting.
Thank you very much for listening. As said at the top of the show, make sure that you are subscribed to us on all of our social medias. We're available on Instagram, we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on TikTok, we're on absolutely everything. We're available on all your... we are available on all podcasting apps as well as on YouTube. So wherever you prefer to listen to podcasts, we're available with new episodes every single Wednesday, as well as bonus episodes every other weekend. If you have any topics, questions, queries, suggestions, anything like that, make sure to send them in to talkingpicturespodcast1@gmail.com, and we will see you again next week. Thanks, Brian.
Thanks, David.